Welcome back. All right, so I'm going to do a career video on Don Edwards, a goaltender who was the backup for this guy, Jerry Desjardins, when he came into the league. And that's a fantastic mask, so I had to get that on here. That's a photo that hangs on the wall over here. I'll leave it right there until after this video and put it back on the wall. But Don Edwards, a number 89 pick by the Buffalo Sabres in 1975, and the mid 70s were a good time for the Sabres, honestly, into the early 80s. 76-77, he makes his debut with the Buffalo Sabres, plays 25 games, a record of 16, 7 and 2, 2.52 goals against average, 899 save percentage, 2 shutouts. In the playoffs, 5 games, a 2 and 3 record, 3.02 goals against, 878 save percentage, no shutouts there. So 77-78, again, he's expected to be the backup, but he wins the starting job. Plays 72 games that season, which is first amongst goaltenders in the National Hockey League. His 38 wins, also first amongst goaltenders in the NHL. 16 losses, 17 ties. So a lot of ties there. 2.64 goals against. His 906 save percentage was 7th in the NHL, and he had 5 shutouts as well. In the playoffs, 8 games, 3 and 5 record. 2.76 goals against, 895 save percentage. He's a second team All-Star. He's third in Calder voting and fourth in the Hart voting. So Don Edwards comes out of nowhere and he is a big star. Sky's the limit. But 78-79, he plays 54 games, which is fifth overall in the NHL. His 26 wins is third overall. 18 losses and 9 ties. 3.02 goals against. His 899 save percentage is actually sixth. We are now into the era where goal scoring is going through the roof and goaltenders are having a hard time, as are defenses. 2 shutouts that year. He's 10th in Hart voting, meaning that people are watching the Sabres and they know that Don Edwards is key to any victories Buffalo's getting. 79-80, 49 games played, 24 wins, which is 4th overall, 9 losses, 12 ties, 2.57 goals against, 893 save percentage, 2 shutouts in the playoffs, 6 games, a record of 3 and 3, 2.84 goals against average, 900 save percentage, and the 1 shutout he would get in his career in the playoffs. He won the Vezina Trophy that year. So the Vezina, of course, awarded to the goaltenders with the lowest goals against average, and I say goaltenders plural because if you have 2 goalies with 25 or more games, you share the Vezina Trophy. It's the Jennings Trophy that we have now in the NHL. But he's a second team All-Star that year, and he plays in the All-Star game. So another really good season for him. 80-81, plays 45 games, 23 wins, which is 6th overall. 10 losses, 12 ties, 2.96 goals against. His 898 save percentage is 4th overall. 3 shutouts in the playoffs, 4 and 4 record in 8 games. 3.38 goals against average, 888 save percentage, no shutouts. 81-82, what would be his final season in Buffalo? 62 games, which is 2nd overall. 26 wins is 5th overall. His 23 losses was 10th overall. 9 ties. 3.52 goals against average. 882 save percentage. No shutouts. 4 games in the playoffs. 1 and 3 record. 4.5 goals against average. 848 save percentage. He was 7th in Vezina voting, and he's an All-Star. So, that summer, the Calgary Flames, looking to bolster their net minding. On June 8th of 1982, Don Edwards is traded to Calgary along with a 1982 second, which was used to draft defenseman Richard Crom, a 1983 first, which is used to draft center Dan Quinn, and a 1982 first round pick, which is used to draft forward Paul Sear, a 1982 second, which is used to draft Jens Johansson, who doesn't play a game in the NHL in his career. 1983 first, used on Norman Lacombe, and 1983 second round draft pick, used for John Tucker. The Sabres have Bob Sauvé, and they're going to have Tom Barrasso, so they're pretty good in net at this stage, and so Don Edwards gets moved to Calgary. It doesn't go well for Don Edwards in Calgary, and I don't know what it is, but his numbers really take a dive here. 39 games played, 16, 15, and 6 record, 4.02 goals against average, 882 save percentage again, meaning he faced a lot more shots in Calgary than he did in Buffalo. 1 shutout in the playoffs, 5 games, a 1 and 2 record, 5.83 goals against average, and 823 save percentage. So rough numbers there. 83-84 plays 41 games, 13, 19, and 5 record. The 19 losses are 9th overall in the NHL. 4.1 goals against average, 871 save percentage, no shutouts. In the playoffs, 6 games, a record of 2-1, 3.35 goals against, 910 save percentage, 84-85, which would be his final year in Calgary. 34 games, 11-15-2 record, 4.09 goals against average, 866 save percentage, and a single shutout. So Calgary decides they're going to move on. Well, Mike Vernon's coming in, so you've got Vernon. Yeah, you might as well move on from Edwards, who's had a tough time. His save percentage down to 866 that final year. So May 29th of 1985, Calgary trades him to Toronto for a 1987 fourth-round pick, which they used to draft Tim Harris, who I don't believe plays a game in the NHL either. In Toronto, well, Toronto is having their own struggles in 85-86. But Edwards, it gets worse for him. 38 games, a record of 12-23-0. The 23 losses are 5th overall in the NHL. 4.76 goals against average, 860 save percentage, and no shutouts. So that would be the end of his career in the National Hockey League anyways. He did shop himself around a bit. Teams weren't interested in bringing him in. So that ends up ending his NHL career. But the year after, he signs with the Brantford Mott's-Clamatos. And if you're asking, what's that? It's the OHA. It's senior hockey. If you watch Shorzy, you can put another word in between senior and hockey because that's how they refer to it. But the Brantford Mott's-Clamatos had brought in some former NHLers, and they were going for it, and it worked. Don Edwards ends up helping them win an Allen Cup in the 1 year that he plays for the Brantford Mott's-Clamatos. Caesars is right there. I'm just going to say the Brantford Caesars is right there. But anyways, Mott's-Clamatos it is. He also played in the 1981 Canada Cup. He played 1 game. He was the backup for Mike Liut. Canada finished that tournament second. Soviets won it that year. So in the NHL, he plays a grand total of 459 games, 208 wins, which does put him, I think, 98th in the all-time list, 155 losses, 74 ties, 3.32 goals against average, 887 save percentage, 16 shutouts in Edwards' career. In the playoffs, 42 games, a record of 16-21, 3.46 goals against, 882 save percentage, and 1 shutout. So the reason for me doing the Edwards video is simple. We talk a lot about how goaltenders are unpredictable. You don't really know what you're going to get. Through the first few years with Edwards, it looked like this was a star goaltender who was going to be in the league for a long time. Reality is his career lasted 10 seasons, and then he was out. And again, once he had that season in 85-86, he wasn't able to drum up interest from teams in the NHL to come in, which would include Buffalo bringing him back. So Edwards was a really good goaltender in Buffalo, really solid. I do remember him playing. I do remember liking him. I remember liking his masks too, which when you're a kid, you pay a lot of attention to the masks. So I'll try to make sure for the thumbnail, get a fun mask that he wore, maybe one of the ones in Calgary. But at any rate, Don Edwards, good goaltender at his peak, and part of a pretty good Buffalo Sabres team in the mid to late 70s. That, again, for Buffalo fans, you guys know you haven't won a Stanley Cup as of yet, but there have been some pretty good Buffalo teams along the way. I don't know if that's going to make you feel better or not, but hey, I'm wearing a Sabres jersey, talking about a Sabres great goaltender and all that, so there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.